Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at why the Swiss love guns more than Americans apparently. I don't know if that is possible. The Americans absolutely love guns. They love shooting. It's their Second Amendment, or isn't it, or something like that. Comment below what you think of this. Do Swiss love guns more than America? Remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications bell on. Let's get into it. I don't think he's shot before.
What just happened? Switzerland. And there's a big festival going on. It has the day off. They're all gathering to have a good time to celebrate guns.
Okay.
It's a shooting competition for teenagers, and they've been doing this for hundreds of years.
Hey, wie ist eure Schießer gegangen?
It used to just be boys, but now it's boys and girls, and the winner is deemed the king or queen of shooting.
Nice. So straight away, we're starting off. They're getting a point across that children are using guns at a young age in Switzerland. What's your thoughts on this straight away off the back of it? Do you think this is a good or a bad thing? This could be seen as good because you're teaching them how to use them safely. You're getting that sort of curiosity out of them. But then are you introducing them to guns? Is it a bad thing? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section.
Ja, sehr schön.
Gerade gewonnen?
Ja.
Wie fühlt sich das an?
Fühlt sich sehr gut an.
He's the king! Oh, he's got an eye patch on. Cheating.
Switzerland is a peaceful, neutral country, and yet it is full of guns. The government gives its citizens guns and trains them how to shoot. Every village is required to have access to a shooting range.
No ways. Every village in Switzerland has access to a shooting range. That's interesting to know. So it is very widespread, very common for everyone to do this. But you never really hear too many of Swiss shootings.
Almost as many guns per head or per person here as in America.
Back home in the United States, we also have a lot of guns. But the culture around guns is a little different.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
The country, Switzerland, proves that there's no need for more gun rules.
Guns the #1 cause of death among children in the United States, yet we don't have the will to stop it.
Switzerland has the lowest crime rate in Europe.
That's all we have at this point. God and our guns.
I really want to get to the bottom of this gun culture thing, why these two countries have such vastly different relationships with guns. So I delved deeper than I usually delve, and found myself digging through old literature from Scottish political philosophers and looking into the constitutional archives, talking to Second Amendment experts, talking to military historians from Switzerland, and it's finally all clicked for me, and I want to share that with you. So, as a side note to this story, I've been finding a lot of bunkers in Switzerland, which, if you all remember, a year ago from right now, I published a video about all of the bunkers hiding in Switzerland. And now that I'm here again, I find myself stumbling upon more and more bunkers. Anyway, I also want...
Very interesting. They've got loads of bunkers, but it's looking beautiful what I've seen so far. I've never been to Switzerland, but it's making me really want to go. Any sort of Swiss viewers here? What's your thoughts? Shall I come across? It looks beautiful. Definitely feel like I want to check it out.
I'm in beautiful Switzerland, here shooting guns and learning a lot about firearms. Let's go. There's the shooting range, and the targets are on this side. Oh yeah, there's the targets. Oh, I hear them. Holy smoke, so they're literally shooting over the road.
Hang on, what?
Right there. Oh god, there's people. Jeez.
Hang on. Oh my god. They're shooting over the road. Let's continue. What? That. Oh my god, there it is. No, go back.
Right of the
Whoa.
Side. Oh yeah, there's the targets. Oh, I hear them. Holy smoke, so they're literally shooting over the road. Right there. Oh god, there's people. Jeez. There are bullets flying over our heads.
What the hell?
Oh my god.
So there's the range. Obviously, that's where you're going to be firing from. There's the road that he is driving down. There's some buildings, possible supermarket. And that's what you're hitting with some vehicles underneath. They've got to have accidents there. No way they're 100% free of accidents with the targets being there. Is this an actual range? Comment below. What's your thoughts?
That is such a weird
You can
feeling.
just hear it snapping overhead.
To a shooting competition right now at this shooting range, surrounded by
What?
Swiss mountains.
This is crazy.
The sound of these guns. My God, it's like a war zone.
But it's only 6 rounds.
Yeah.
But it's single loaded, so you always have to.
You always have to cock it. Yeah.
Then you can make the ring wider.
Yeah.
And smaller.
Yeah.
And you can even.
How many people are in there?
As I'm standing here, you realize like the cars are right there.
There you go.
You can shoot them if you
Oh
want
my
to, if you were
God.
standing up. Like I knew that this.
Like, you would
existed.
never get that in
I
the
saw
UK.
Scott video a few months ago. I thought it was like there was one crazy shooting range in Switzerland that goes over a road. I didn't realize it was common.
Oh, it's common. Comment below. What's your thoughts?
It's a friendly competition. It's all very wholesome. You see these young kids that are like keeping score, tabulating all of the results. I've been hanging out with the president of one of these shooting clubs, trying to understand a little bit better about what this event and things like this represent for these communities.
The military law tells all the villages that they need to provide a shooting range or a possibility to shoot.
After a
Hang
while
on.
of
Military law. So it's military law to tell the villages they have to provide a shooting range. This is obviously for a big safety thing. It's got to be.
Petition, they told me that it was my turn to shoot. But first, I needed to learn how to use one of these guns. We got the ammo, military provided at a discount.
Just try again.
So
you're right-handed?
yep, I'm right-handed.
Yeah, he hasn't shot.
In there, like, how am I seeing that far down?
No, there's no telescope.
There's no telescope.
No.
Oh, that's what makes it.
You're not allowed to use any sights, any optics.
Interesting. No optics,
any
no
competitions
sights.
in Switzerland.
Okay. So
At
you're
no
gonna
competition.
cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you're not able to see any cars anymore.
Nope, no more
Okay,
cars.
so no more cars. No more problems about that.
Yes.
Maybe move a little bit further.
Okay, so that's how they get over that. They, as you saw, they got the barrel.
Whoa.
Now it's loaded. It's ready to shoot.
Oh my God. Okay.
Target 19.
Target 19. Here we go.
Very slow. Now you
Definitely, the way he's done that, he ain't hitting anything. Watch this. Snatch the trigger, come off the target straight away. Look, watch.
Target 19. Here we go.
1, 2, 3. There you go, look. Snatch the trigger, come off sight. The weapon was still moving around, so that has not landed where he wanted it to land at all.
Very slow. Now you.
But he's obviously a first timer.
Oh, I did. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I forgot about
That's
that.
why normally we train how that works. But you hit the target.
Oh, he hit it.
That's good.
You
Okay.
actually hit the target. That's good.
Oh,
now-
there we
Now
go.
we saw it.
I'm getting better. As I shot in my first
Good,
gun
good.
competition,
Impressive.
I was surprised that my instructor kept telling me to relax, to breathe, to turn inward.
Exactly.
There we go. He's holding the trigger better there.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Wow. I turned inward, relaxed, and I hit the 10.
There we go.
Sharpshooter over here. Wow, this is addictive. I definitely see, I could do this all day.
So this is like relaxing or calming down for me. Sometimes I feel like going into another world. You turn your focus from focusing outside, you're focusing inside.
Wow. This is fun. Objectively, this is just fun.
Yes.
Beautiful. And
Shooting is fun. Used to love doing a range day in the army. Who doesn't?
looking at the Swiss countryside. It's great.
Still shocked at that though. Look
I
at that.
used guns as a kid. I would go out into the forest and blow up like glass bottles with shotguns.
That's what I think America is all about.
Wow, that was awesome. I kind of want to shoot again. I never thought I'd say this. I'm not a gun person, but I'm I kind of want to shoot more.
Shooting's
It's
cool.
so fun. I was struck by how peaceful and celebratory and wholesome this all was. So much different than the way guns are presented in the USA.
Yeah,
So how did we get here?
definitely.
The story of Switzerland starts here. Well, actually down there at that lake in a little green valley where a group of people came together and made a promise to each other 700 years ago. And with that promise came a myth. The hero's name was William Tell, and legend has it that one day he refused to bow down to the king's local leader. It was a daring act of disrespect. So as punishment, the overlord forced him to shoot an apple off his own son's head. Tell aimed his crossbow carefully and released. He made the perfect shot. He continued to defy the ruler and eventually inspired the tribes in this region to launch a rebellion. Tell eventually shot the ruler dead, and the rebels would go on to win their independence, banding together to start the confederacy that would become Switzerland. They first made an agreement that they would protect one another. But instead of forming a full-time standing army run by a king, they would arm and train ordinary people to fight. So not an army at all, but rather a militia. I'm now going into a shooting range that is in the mountain, in a dugout bunker.
Nice.
Very Swiss. It feels like the old bunker days.
Yes.
Exploring a bunker, but I'm in a shooting range. Mind-blowingly big. It's like a maze in the mountain with just a bunch of rooms shooting.
So straight away we are seeing a massive shooting culture within Switzerland. Ranges everywhere. Villages are being told they have to provide a range. They've got it from kids all the way to sort of the older generation. So it's up and down the generations. So you can see that they are, and when they are going to the range, like you said, it is very peaceful. You watch a lot of videos of Americans on the range and they're just shooting the hell out of absolutely everything, shouting hoorah and all sorts. As this is completely different, a lot more peaceful, but it is nationwide. I didn't realise so much shooting in Switzerland.
Okay, so now I'm fully loaded. Safety off. I'm going to take safety off.
Yeah, if you're on the target, and you want to shoot, you can take the safety off.
Okay.
Or not.
Okay.
So you don't get any sights either, like you can't get out your weapon, I think, which makes a massive difference.
So back to 1600s Europe, where Switzerland remained this one peaceful confederacy protected by its citizen militia. Meanwhile, in the rest of Europe, greedy kings were using their huge standing armies to conquer one another, while Switzerland stood by training its citizens in the ways of war.
I want to quickly share what for me has been a hugely positive habit, and that's speaking to a therapist using Better.
Swiss citizens got so good at fighting that the Pope hired them as his personal protectors. Other empires would even hire Swiss soldiers to fight their own wars. But Switzerland itself remained almost entirely out of these conflicts on the continent. Eventually, European thinkers start to notice this peculiar Alpine confederacy, Switzerland, this place that trains their citizens to fight, and miraculously showed that you can have a republic, even in Europe, a sea of monarchy and kings. I've been reading a lot of old European political literature, and you start to see this phrase pop up to describe how Switzerland defends itself, using a well-regulated militia. I saw this term a lot when I was looking through this old literature. Around 1610, this British diplomat goes to Switzerland and gawks at their well-regulated militia, how they can overturn their government at pleasure because they all know how to fight. By the way, back in like the 1600s, well-regulated militia meant like a well-organized or efficiently run militia, not like regulated in the way that we think of it today. But yeah, the idea was if you arm everyone in your society and you train them, that's actually the key to the best defense and the best preservation of freedom for the people, not just the king.
Yeah, I get that.
This idea of a well-regulated militia spread across the ocean to a group of British intellectuals who were secretly conspiring to overthrow their own king.
In 1776, they declared independence, using their own well-regulated militia to fight off a tyrannical king and his standing army. As they fought this war, a leader from Switzerland wrote to Benjamin Franklin, suggesting that this new rebel experiment called the United States should become sister republics with Switzerland. The Americans somehow won this war and got to work designing their new country. They sat down in a hot church-looking building to draft a document that would be the foundation of this experiment, a system free of kings. The founders studied the political systems of Greece and Rome. They studied the British Magna Carta, Native American confederacies, European philosophers.
But then there's John Adams, one of the founders who was kind of obsessed with Switzerland at this time. He studied their system, and he was amazed at how their militia worked, how they required everyone to have a gun and to have ammo, and they wouldn't let them get married unless they did. He wrote all about this.
You had to be
in,
married.
A treatise on different
No
government
way.
systems, right before he wrote the Constitution with his fellow co-founders. Switzerland was a model. It was the republic that had resisted tyranny and been able to stay free in a Europe full of kings. And when it came time to write the actual Constitution, you can see that a militia was enshrined in the Constitution itself. In the Constitution, the role of the militia is to protect the government, to protect the country from invasion or insurrection.
So I can see where it all happens now, and why some people are so big on the Second Amendment, of the way it's meant to be, but sadly from what I've seen it's not like that in America now, how Switzerland have it. We'll see more in this video. But obviously they've sort of deteriorated, like gone away from this militia, everyone being well trained, well regulated, to everyone just owning guns and sort of doing what you want with them.
And then after the Constitution, it became time to draft that sacred list of the most fundamental rights that would ensure that the American project remained free and full of liberty. The first of these 10 amendments would be freedom of speech and of expression, assembly, religion, and the press. But right after that, they write the Second Amendment, and it's about the well-regulated militia being vital, being necessary for the security of a free country. So to have a militia, the people must have arms. They must have a right to have guns. So now you have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment, and then a few years later, the well-regulated militia idea got enshrined in law when one of the first Congresses passed a law that said that every man doesn't just have the right to have a gun, but is required to have a gun and ammo and must train to use it so that the president could call on its armed citizens as its mechanism for defense. This whole legal framework was very clearly like, yes, you can have guns, but only if you are ready to use them to defend our country from invasion or insurrection.
It's not really used like that.
George Washington had to actually use this. There was this rebellion in Pennsylvania over taxes, and George Washington called up his armed citizens to march and tamp down on these rebels, and it totally worked. The militia system was working for this young nation to ensure its freedoms with an armed citizenry, something Switzerland had been doing for centuries. Guns started out as a symbol of collective security, as collective defense, armed citizens ready to stand up to defend the country. But needless to say, things kind of changed when it came to guns in America. So how we got from that to this is the next part of this video. And in my mind, it's the most interesting version of this story because it shows us how Switzerland and the United States diverged so severely from this militia culture. Okay, but before we get to that, I want to show you more about Switzerland today. Show you what it looks like when a country sticks to an actual militia system as their primary tool for national defense. Okay.
To better understand gun ownership in Switzerland, I visited a member of the Swiss Army.
way!
Can I see your gun?
Of course. That's why we came.
That's why I'm here.
I want to play some. Where's Waldo? Where's the assault rifle?
Oh my gosh, I already see it. So you used to have a gun in your corner here.
You want to carry it?
Okay. What's interesting to me is
It's just down the side of his sofa.
For me, this is a giant gun. Like this is I don't handle guns. Like I held a gun like this for the first time like 2 days ago. For the very first time in my life.
No way.
Yes.
Actually.
I'm an American.
Yeah. I was about to. That's very uncliche.
Yes.
Switzerland still has a militia. Every able-bodied man in Switzerland is given a uniform and a gun and required to join the military.
So, and this is in the Constitution. It's written there that every male can be forced, not only forced to do military service, but also forced to make more. So instead of 21 weeks, I did 37 weeks. And in total, I have to do like 450 days.
Up until the 90s, you would go to jail if you refused to do this. Now you just
I think it's a good idea.
3% of your income if you don't.
I was also very against the military, and I went reluctantly.
One of the first things you do in this initial training is you come to one of these clubs and you learn to shoot.
It was kind of scary, actually, because it's all like 18 to 20-year-old guys, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to shoot this gun now. And it's like, here's ammunition, here's the rounds, and now you do what you learn.
After the recruits complete their training, they return back to their normal jobs, to their normal lives, but they keep their firearm with them in their home. And then they're required to come to one of these private clubs every year to practice shooting.
So it's literally down to you to obviously stay on top of it and they regulate it. So they literally do, the whole nation is trained. So if they ever do get attacked, you've got a whole nation that can stand up and fight. I think that's brilliant and something the UK are definitely missing out on.
Armeeangehörige müssen jedes Jahr eigentlich obligatorisch schießen und wir tun eigentlich mit dem Staat arbeiten, oder?
It's called the obligatorisch. So it's obligatory or mandatory for people to shoot.
This is my shooting book. Every time I shoot, there is like a little report. Somebody has to sign it. Of course, when you go shooting, you just take this out. It's just like this. Wow. And then you go to the public transport, just like that.
You're just on.
On the bus you go.
On the train with your gun?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's actually similar to what the United States National Defense Strategy looked in like the 1800s, where every able-bodied man had a gun and was required to use it, required to be ready to defend the country from invasion or insurrection.
Part of this is also being able to fight if it would be necessary, just to protect our country, and this self-defense thinking is part of our people and from Switzerland.
What Switzerland doesn't have that we have in the United States is a Second Amendment, an articulated, unambiguous right to have guns. Instead, guns are articulated mostly as a duty to protect the country. And then, secondly, comes the privilege to use guns, to compete with them, to own guns, etc.
So the way I think America looks at it is like their privilege, their rights. They should be able to own a gun no matter what, for whatever it is. As in with Switzerland, you have it to protect your nation. As that's not what it looks like in America, really. I don't think it's more, it's my right to own a gun.
The duty came first.
We have a tradition of more of a liberty tradition, and there it's more of a responsibility tradition.
Essentially, everybody has to go. So this is kind of like one thing that unifies a lot of the male population here. And it's just like, you can meet a guy, and if he's done military service as well, you can talk for hours and hours and hours on end.
And this to me makes all the difference. Like, these two different purposes of guns in society, whether they are a right for individuals or the duty of the collective. I think this is a major factor that divides these two gun cultures. If you could describe Swiss shooting culture in 3 words, what would those words be?
Wettkampf, Kameradschaft,
Competition, camaraderie, tradition.
And this is where it all clicked for me. I had thought that Switzerland's gun culture was the product of smart laws and gun policies. But being here, it was becoming clear that it was the militia system that was at the root of all of this. The requirement for every man to learn how to shoot as the main strategy for collective national defense, turning guns into a symbol of community and celebration, the center of large festivals all over the country, where Swiss traditions are celebrated with firearms at the center, like that teen shooting competition in Zurich, or this important shooting festival that takes place at the foot of the Alps along a
Nice, look at
Swiss
that.
lake, the place where the founders of Switzerland formed their confederacy in 1291.
And that's it. You know, it's not that Switzerland love their guns more than America. I don't think that's the case. It's Switzerland have more of a purpose for their guns than America. It's their duty to protect their nation and their people. As now it's more in America, we have a free right to hold guns. That's what the Second Amendment says, to own a gun. And that's what they want, and they want to do what they want with it. It's not, for some people it is, it's for them to protect themselves and their land, but it's not about any more protecting your land and your nation against foreign enemies, which is what Switzerland, or if you have a rebellion, which is what Switzerland's about. And that's where America's gone completely wrong. If you can bring that back in, where it's your right to own a weapon, own a firearm, but you will be trained on it. Everyone will hold one, everyone will hold ammunition, but you will go away and do training. You'll keep up with that training each year, and it's for the protection of our people and our land instead of just your right and to do whatever you want and have fun with it. And that's exactly where it's gone completely different, and where Switzerland are still going very well with it. They're introduced at a young age as well, so they know the safety of it and the importance of it right up until the older generation. So that's my thoughts on it. Let us know what your thoughts are. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications bell on, and I'll see you soon.